Welcome back all to the Wednesday Night War. So this week, for like one of the first times, I'm going solo. There's no prime time here, and since Q4 doesn't really watch NXT, or well, he does watch NXT, but doesn't watch AEW like that. Especially has to watch NXT in a while. Then it's just me out here rocking out by myself. So these are both kind of go home shows to the events that's coming up. More so for AEW because Fyter Fest is going to be for the next 2 weeks, for July 1st and July 8th, where NXT is actually about to do the Great American Bash next week, just try to compete with Fyter Fest, even though the NXT thing is a last minute thing opposed to Fyter Fest, which has already been in the plans. So this was the first week though. I won't say the first week, but NXT kind of destroyed AEW in the ratings this week. So we're about to get into the whole show for NXT. Watch NXT in parts of this time, but the big thing going in is the triple threat match for the North American Championship, which was in the main event. But we start the show with Cameron Grimes coming out and talking smack on the mic about Damian Priest. Damian Priest comes out, and he has to tape the ribs and still selling the injury from In Your House with Finn Balor, falling on those steel steps. The match is cool. Cameron Grimes hits that finishing move, that double stomp on the outside, and then Damian Priest just comes in for the beast count, but then Cameron Grimes hits it again and then pins Damian Priest. Kind of shocked that Cameron Grimes got the win here over Damian Priest, but Damian Priest still find a way to sell that injury. Cruiserweight Santos Escobar versus Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas wants a little bit of revenge for what happened to Drake Maverick last week. The match is pretty good. The Santos Escobar thing kind of reminds me of Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers, but except these guys are not like necessarily jobbers. They're not there for Randy Orton and Brock to toss around though. But I get that group dynamic from it. I'm liking Santos Escobar ever since he did the mask. Jake Atlas on top rope and then he gets distracted. And he Santos knocks him down, hits the Phantom Driver after a knee, like kind of like a modified GTS first, and then the Phantom Driver. So he beats Jake Atlas after that. Then we get I like the back in session with Timothy Thatcher, which is. It's like this training video. It's in like a dark arena with just a ring, and he has all his proteges and everything that he's training. And I like how he's doing the training, showing them different submission holds and different pressure points that cause pain. And then you kind of hear his students tapping out and crying in agony, and the camera just shows his face, and he's slightly enjoying it, like he is like really a madman kind of thing. So I'm liking the Timothy Thatcher thing. It's amazing how it only took a couple weeks to really get. I mean, deep wrestling fans know him from other organizations. I don't, but they get him on the side of me. So I was, still thinking that. Then we have a segment. Robert Stone wants Rhea Ripley as a client to join the Robert Stone brand with him and Aaliyah. So Aaliyah has officially become a member of the Robert Stone brand. Not the biggest fan of Aaliyah, and she's not the greatest replacement to me for Chelsea Green. I thought the Aaliyah Vanessa Bourne thing was going to be a thing, but it turned out to not be a thing. And I was like, where's Vanessa Bourne at? And I think Vanessa Bourne is a little bit better of a wrestler and a seller than Aaliyah is. Maybe even Vanessa Bourne could benefit from being the Robert Stone brand. But anyway, Rhea Ripley does not take his offer and dumps him in the trash. And Aaliyah says, "You can't just become dump my client in the trash," and slaps Rhea Ripley, which is going to cause a match for them later on tonight. The funniest part is just Robert Stone, just basically on his back, kicking it and flipping around in a dumpster as you see them talking in the background. I thought, to me, that was hilarious. It's time for another Roderick Strong thing when it comes to his therapy, and the therapy resumes. So now today he's ready to face the trunk, and when he gets up, he sees the therapist. He's like, "Wait a minute, that's Kyle." So he knows Colorado. So they go over to the trunk, and then he says, "We're gonna get in the trunk." He gets into the trunk, and you see Adam Cole's face and everything counting down, and then he closes the trunk, and then he's in there for a couple seconds. They pop it open, so he's ready. So yes, he says, "Now since you're ready, you cock in the trunk. You can have a match with Dexter Lumis tonight and he was kind of like resisting at first, but said, yeah. So later on, we're going to get Roderick Strong taking on Dexter Lumis. Kaden Carter and Casey Catherine Zero is for a tag team matchup with Dakota Kai and Big Mommy Cool. Raquel Gonzalez, said by Marvinado. I do not want to push that Diesel reference at all. The tag team was actually pretty good. I think Casey and Kaden were good as a team. They actually did like the private party springboard I like so much with Casey was about to go on top rope, but then Kaden put her back down. She kind of launched her back into the ring. They kind of do work well together, and if they want to start making some kind of tag teams to make a run for these women's tag team championships, I would like to see them as a team. But as Kaden launches Casey up on Raquel, she literally grabs the powerbomb form and then picks up literally with one arm, kicks Kaden out the ring, like spikes powerbomb Casey Catanzaro, and then Dakota Kai comes in there and then just puts her in the submission hold and makes her tap out. So very dominant tag team, but obviously Raquel does all the work and then Dakota Kai comes in there and picks up the straps. Indoshir, I know I keep saying that name wrong, and Malcolm Bivens was in the back, and they talked about the thugs of Only Looking and Danny Burch and how they couldn't mind their business, and he's pissed off beyond pistivity. So, but they're calling for a match between them, which should be a good brawl. Bronson Reed is taking on Karrion Kross. In my personal opinion, it's the best I've seen in Karrion Kross matches because I like the competitiveness of Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed being a very big guy and not like getting embarrassed by Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross still looked dominant here, and but Bronson Reed also looked pretty good in this matchup as well. I'm not taking anything away from him in that one. But after a couple of suplexes, which Karrion Kross was showing his strength that he has, they finally put him in that sleeper hole and choked him out. So backstage, they asked Adam, who does Adam Cole prefer in a triple threat match tonight? And he says, well, normal guys would be like the weaker one or the one that has less success or whatever the case may be. He says, but I'm not the normal guy. I'm Adam Cole based, so my answer is whatever. It doesn't matter. I just got to make room on my trophy shelf for one more championship. Then we finally get the Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah matchup with Robert Stone on the outside. And then Rhea Ripley has Aaliyah in the reverse cloverleaf. Robert Stone throws his shoe at Rhea Ripley. She goes and chases him. He gets out the ring, do a suit jacket. Aaliyah tries to do the roll up, doesn't work, and then she gets the riptide, and then Rhea Ripley wins the matchup. Rhea Ripley, in my personal opinion, should be doing stuff way beyond facing Aaliyah and worry about the Robert Stone brand type thing. Which brings us to Robert Stone wants something to happen. He's talking to Regal about something happened to Rhea Ripley, and then Regal makes a 2-on-1 handicap match where Robert Stone has to get in the ring and wrestle. And then Robert Stone says, well, if that's the case, then when Rhea loses, she has to join the Robert Stone brand. And then Regal's like, no, but then Rhea came behind him and said, hey, that's no problem with me. So next week at the Great American Bash, starting the Great American Bash, we're going to have Rhea Ripley taking on Robert Stone and Aaliyah. And it would be funny just to have her like if we want to have her join for comedy purposes, like for a little bit before she just this is my brutality and destroys everybody. But she really shouldn't be losing to Aaliyah and Robert Stone. Really shouldn't be. Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong is up next as Roderick Strong is trying to get in the ring. Dexter Lumis is doing the awkward stare. He's out there with Bobby Fish, and for some reason, he cannot get in the ring. So this match, he tries to get out the way, but then Bobby Fish tries to cycle him back up. He goes back in the ring as Dexter Lumis just does that crazy, creepy stare. And then he goes outside the ring, and then Dexter Lumis actually walking after him. And then Roderick Strong does the whole Looney Tunes run into the wall that you already know is there, the plexiglass, and then runs all the way to the back while Dexter Lumis crawls back into the ring, and the count out happens, and then he loses the matchup. So Bobby Fischer trying to yell for him to come back out, but then Dexter Lumis tries to put that lock on the lock he does. Well, Bobby Fish escapes as well. So next week at the Great American Bash, there's going to be a strap match between Roderick Strong and Dexter Lumis. Main event time, triple threat match for the North American Championship. Finn Balor taking on Johnny Gargano, taking on Keith Lee. I thought this was a really, really good matchup as Johnny Gargano tries to go for his that springboard DDT that he does, but then Balor gets out of it, hits a sling blade, and as he's in the corner loading for the shotgun drop, you see Keith Lee rise from the ashes and grab his throat. I love that shot. They do it often though in Keith Lee matches now, but I do love the shot. I just don't want them because WWE has a tendency of overdoing it. Okay, that's that's one of the things I don't want them to overdo because that right there is a decent shot that I like them doing. Keith Lee springboards on the both of them. More back and forth action here. Balor's on the top, we're trying to go for a coup de grace. Keith Lee catches Gargano in a spirit bomb, power bombs him on Finn Balor's back first, who's draped across the top rope, and then power bombs him, and then hits the Big Bang Catastrophe on Johnny Gargano. Goes for the pin, but if Finn Balor hits a coup de grace, Keith Lee moves and he falls right on Johnny Gargano. Then hits the Big Bang Catastrophe on Finn Balor, picks up the win. So it's going to be Keith Lee taking on Adam Cole, baby, at was it in 2 weeks? So on the second week of the Great American Bash. So that's going to compete with the Fyter Fest thing. So, and it's winner take all. And for some reason, I have a feeling that Keith Lee could be the one to take it all. Adam Cole has done everything, and Adam Cole has already been North American champion. He was the first North American champion, and they keep talking about the greatest NXT champion ever. So I'm just saying he probably could do something else, but still within NXT. He could probably, they could feed him the carrying cross, something like that. But I for some reason think that Keith Lee could probably pull this thing off. But we're not done yet because on the other side of Wednesday War, we had AEW Dynamite. And AEW Dynamite now they're really gearing up for Fyter Fest. And we also know that Sammy Guevara has been suspended, so it will be Santana taking his place in the Matt Hardy matchup tonight. So, but we kick off to the show with the Lumberjack match between Warlow and the Luchasaurus. They have been trying to do this match since back in March, I think it was. And I think this was supposed to be the match that's supposed to happen at the Blood and Guts show. That's what happened in March. We were supposed to have the big War Games matchup, and it didn't happen because obviously of the pandemic. So now we finally get this matchup, which I thought they probably would say for Fyter Fest also, but it didn't. Damn good matchup. Is it the best Lumberjack match I've ever seen? No. But, I still think that goes to Ambrose and Rollins, but because I'm not a big fan of Lumberjack matches. But this one was a pretty decent matchup, and you already knew all them guys out there what the things was going to do. So they have the level rank like WCW. First of all, Warlow and Luchasaurus are some big dudes that can do some effortless cruiserweight stuff. Like Warlow does a jumping Hurricane Rana to Luchasaurus. Picture perfect. And then Luchasaurus, he doesn't get all of it, but he does, like, as Warlow's running to him, does like a flip bottom to him, or, a Spanish fly, like, a jumping Spanish fly in the middle of the ring. So I thought that was good. They're on the level ramp. Warlow hits a power slam on Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy comes to check on him. Warlow pushes him off and then throws him into the Lumberjacks, and then they all pile up, and then here comes Margot's stunt, and I'm like, they're gonna launch Margot's stunt on stuff. So he flips onto the pile, and they start fighting, and then Warlow and Luchasaurus fight on the stage, and then he kicks Warlow, and then he falls into the crowd. And then see, this is why I hate the pile-up spot, because everybody cannot sell the pile-up spot perfectly like they're supposed to. So what happens is that Luchasaurus is right there on the edge of the stage, and he's about to go for what looks like to be a shooting star press. He goes one, and everybody's like waiting for him. And they just stop fighting, they just waiting for him. And he finally hits a shooting star press and falls down and everything. They go back into the ring. Luchasaurus has a choke slam. MJF comes up on the apron and then distracts Luchasaurus. And then all of a sudden Jungle Boy comes in and gives a Big E spear to MJF through the ring, and they all fall on the floor. Then Warlow hits like his twisting F5 kind of thing, and then there you have it. Warlow wins the match. Great opening matchup. Great to see these two big guys go at it, and I thought it was very, very entertaining. Dr. Brent Baker, DMD, has some messages for Tony Schiavone, and then but this time she's in her Rolls Royce with the plexiglass surrounding by it, just so Big Swole won't kidnap her like she did the previous week. We have the AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida, prime time somewhere, pissed off, versus Red Velvet. My favorite cake of all time. But this matchup wasn't really it didn't take no time at all. It was just basically she hit Red Velvet with running knee Falcon's Arrow, and that was it. That was the matchup. This is basically here to give the kind of stare down between Penelope Ford and Hikaru Shida, who have a championship match at Fyter Fest. So now we have the press conference for Cody, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and Jake Hager for the TNT Championship for Fyter Fest. Here's the thing. This was, Cody gets all, he gets to try all the new stuff because, it's Cody. So it's like an actual boxing press conference where they actually have a long table, and then Cody's entourage of party sits on that side, where Jake Hager's stuff comes on that side, and then they ask Arn Anderson, is Hager going to show up every day? And Arn Anderson puts over Cody, talk about how he's going to sit there and he defends the championship every single week, and then Cody talks about I may be called the American Nightmare, but I still believe in the American Dream. And then his TNT Championship represents hope. Okay. Jake Hager, he shows up late with his wife, and then he says, "You ready?" He's not. They do the whole boxing pole down and everything, and then Hager's wife throws a glass of water at Cody, but he tells everybody to back off. Don't even worry about it as they get ready for the match. So it's a different kind of thing than a contract signing, obviously, and it's a different way to try to do things. It's just amazing that Cody is always the one to try the different kind of way to WWE, which I understand. Cody being the one helped start this whole thing up, but it's like I can see a definitely heel turn starting with this, because you had the entourage like that and stuff like that. I can see heel turn coming. So we have a tag team matchup between the Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee, and Boom Boom Coco Cabana taking on the Bad Boy Joe Janela and Sunny Kiss. This actually there was a segment that I seen with Sunny Kiss and Joe Janela driving in a car. And they were driving in the car, and they were doing some talking, basically. And then Joe Janela drives the car. They stop at a gas station. Sunny Kiss is getting gas. And then Joe Janela's in there buying food. And then these guys come up to try to jump Sunny Kiss. He's fighting them off, but then the numbers game gets too much. Joe Janela comes out. It's like a whole cinematic thing. And throws a burrito at the people. And it's like they really start tag teaming and beating up all these guys outside. And I thought it was a really cool segment. I actually seen the full thing. It's almost 4 minutes long. It's really cool. And then Sunny Kiss was saying that he likes this, so they kind of formed this kind of team, which I know they do a lot on AEW Dark, but this time this is Sunny Kiss's first time being on AEW Dynamite. So the matchup was pretty good. It's the first time I've seen Sunny Kiss actually wrestle. I didn't get the chance to see too much of him in Lucha Underground. I did not get a chance to see too much of his body of work, but I was like, oh, he pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I like he's pretty dope. How they tried to do a doomsday device on Colt Cabana, but then Colt Cabana rolls with Joe Janela, and Sunny Kiss misses the clothesline, and then Joe Janela gets out of it, and then Brody Lee finally comes back in the ring. They take out Sunny Kiss, and then they because he jumps down the Dark Order. Then they give Joey Janela the discus clothesline. So after the discus clothesline, they win a matchup. Out of nowhere, Lance Archer comes back and annihilates Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela. Even though he tried to throw a chair at him, it doesn't work. Jake Roberts comes back and pulls them all away. FTR takes on SCU, but SCU is Daniels and Kazarian. No Scorpio Sky for this one. I was kind of hoping to be Scorpio Sky. Great tag team matchup by these two. First of all, Christopher Daniels could still go at 50-something years old that he is. That's one of the things about Christopher Daniels that I love about him. He could just really still go. But they hit their finisher on Daniels, and then they win the matchup. After the match, they get on the microphone, and then they talk about the Young Bucks and them being the tattoos can't be on their level. We get the Butcher and the Blade coming out in a truck. With I don't understand the white that they're doing now, but they changed the whole gimmick up a little bit. And in the background, they said they want to challenge to an 8-man tag match. It's between they want FTR teaming with the Young Bucks to take on us and the Lucha Brothers. The return of Pentagon. We have not seen Pentagon since the pandemic started, and because they had a triple threat thing going on, or the Triangle of Death with Pac and Phoenix and of course Pentagon. So this right here, the Lucha Brothers are back, and they go to they do the package pile driver stomp onto Dash Wheeler, and that's going to be the 8-man tag coming up, where the Young Bucks come down and they kind of save them. Brian Cage comes out to take on John Cruz. It's big. Taz on commentary. He's very funny on commentary. Britt Baker likes us because we get free dental care. Brian Cage destroys this jobber. Deals on one of the Mike Awesome power bombs from off the stage back into the ring. I enjoyed it, and then that was it. Then Taz gets in the ring, and then he gets on the microphone, talk about where is Moxley? He's right behind that screen with some bullshit ass excuse of why he can't be here tonight. And he said, but you're staring at your fate at Fyter Fest. If Moxley can make it to Fyter Fest, because you already know what the whole thing is with Renee Young and that. So there's gonna Big Swole finally confronts Britt Baker on the outside. And Britt Baker's like, look, you can't even touch me. First of all, I'm in plexiglass. You can't even hear me. And she's surrounded by it. And then she calls Big Swole trash. And then Swole's like, okay, no problem. So then she climbs up on top of the car as Britt Baker's trying to sip her martini and just pours a trash can right over Britt Baker. And then she is pissed off. She is losing her mind. So obviously, I like how they're still building stories with injured people. I think that's one thing AEW is doing good better than WWE is. And so you already know when she comes back, probably for All Out, it will be her versus Big Swole. And Big Swole finally get that pay-per-view opportunity. Broken Matt Hardy, Damascus, takes on Santana. The only thing about this matchup that was bothering me, that he did 3 side effects and he kicked out every last one of them. I'm just like, you need to do another move, Matt Hardy, to be honest with you. And it just, it was getting annoying after a while. And then Santana hits a false splash, but then Matt gets out the way, and then they go back and forth, slugging each other out. Excuse me, I'm getting caught up in my words here. And then but Santana obviously gets the win over Matt Hardy, and then him and Ortiz start leaving and hit the sweep sweeper on Matt Hardy. And Private Party comes out, and then Private Party comes save Matt Hardy. We're going to get the face-off tonight of the La Champion Chris Jericho and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. And then so they both up in the ring, and then Jericho says, why the chicken cross the road? And then he said, why the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. That joke is funny the first time you hear it. And then the more and more you hear it, you don't laugh anymore. The joke's not funny anymore. Actually, it's more annoying when you realize it. He said, that is Orange Cassidy. And he says, every time, you're the joke of pro wrestling, the more I see you, you piss me off. So, he said, I'm going to kick your teeth in. I'll make sure you run out of juice. Then, of course, Orange Cassidy does the little shin kicks and everything, and then does his hands into the pocket. And then Jericho knocks off his sunglasses. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. And then they start brawling. Jericho starts beating up Orange Cassidy, start fighting around the ring, takes off his jacket and everything, and it hits him with the little swinging camera that's on the outside. There's a clear table that looks like Jericho's about to put him on. He's on this balcony. He's the balcony where the stairs is at. He's on there. But then Orange Cassidy fights back, and pulls his kind of gives him a guillotine on the bar, then runs up, give him a Superman forearm as Jericho falls back into the table. So this should be a good matchup for Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. So that was the Wednesday Night War, and we're going to see which one won for the week between NXT and AEW. My pick goes to NXT this week. The whole thing with the triple threat matchup, the Roderick Strong thing, and everything. Like they had some good stuff on AEW with the Orange Cassidy stuff and the SCU versus FTR and the Britt Baker thing. I like, but I think NXT pulls it out this week. But I can't wait to see what Fyter Fest is going to be. So that is my grade for the Wednesday Night War. Now I want to go over to Fyter Fest predictions. So when it comes to Fyter Fest, we have 2 nights, July 1st and July 8th. So what I want to do is give you guys the predictions for night 1 of Fyter Fest. And my predictions we have is Kenny Omega. Oh, well, first of all, these are the matches. Kenny Omega and Adam Page taking on the Best Friends because they have been #1 contenders for a long time. I see Kenny Omega taking Kenny Omega and Adam Page retaining the tag team championships here. Cody versus Jake Hager for the TNT championship. It could go either way, but I do think that Cody is saving. Like Cody is too big right now, and the whole entourage thing and everything. I think Cody retains his championship. I don't see Jake Hager winning. I'm not a fan of Swagger or Hager or whatever the case is may be anyway. So, but I have Cody win this match. Hikaru Shida taking on Penelope Ford for the AEW Women's Championship. There's no reason why Shida should be losing this matchup to Penelope Ford. Really, I mean, it helps get some limelight on her, but she's not ready yet. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, after what happened at the Lumberjack match, is taking on MJF and Wardlow in a tag team matchup. This should be a good matchup. This should really be a good matchup. And I have the Jurassic Express getting their win back over MJF and Wardlow. Then we got Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn taking on Santana and Ortiz. Obviously for them jumping Matt Hardy. And I have actually Santana and Ortiz winning that matchup over Private Party. But hopefully Private Party knocks the rust off and it should be a damn good matchup. So, when after that, night 2, when I do my night 1 review, I'll come back with the night 2 predictions. But that's the Wednesday Night War, guys. So we're gonna move on.